Hello, my audience. I'm reviewing Avengers Age of Ultron. I give it 2 points out of 10 points as my final verdict. Now I'm going to go into spoiler territory, talk about what I hated, the old bullshit that goes on in the stories of the film. So, in this time, the Avengers team up against fighting Ultron and his army in the third act of multiple versions of himself as the Scarlet and Quicksilver, who are known for those names in the comic, but I forget what they call what the movie calls them. Pietro and Wanda Maximoff. And instead of mutants, they're freak accidents. They're not mutants, I guess. So, they're not really bloodline to Magneto because legal rights, like they were in the comics. Daughters of the two biological kids of Magneto, Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver are. And the links to the X-Men is non-existent. So why have them in this movie? Because it just makes the movie more cluttered. Why not just use whatever Avengers member you had from the first one and just expand on that and not add any more heroes? Just saying, that probably would have been a better trade than what we got. Because saying they add more than a handful of heroes in Infinity War and Endgame. Those movies were a mess, and so is this movie a mess. Avengers Age of Ultron. The structure is very the whole movie has this really stupid comedic tone about it. That feels like it's lots of cringe and stupid jokes that, like, tons of them throwing at you. There's very little serious or epic moments thrown to the movie, but they're there. They're just underneath all of the bullshit comedic writing. With the Avengers banter and shit. And the plot holes and plot lines, characters, and all that other bullshit is comedic. Mostly for laughs. So very rarely we see something that gives them depth. Sometimes we'll see that here and there, but it's mostly but there's too much mediocrity jokes that just don't hit home run with you, and often miss the mark with the jokes. So this movie really does suck. It feels like Whedon fucked up more on this movie than he did on 2017's reshot of the Justice League by Zack Snyder when he released his cut of the film. And we didn't know better because the movie credited Zack Snyder as the director. Then we find out, holy shit, Whedon did most of this stuff. To me, this is a bigger mess than the 2017's Justice League, and that's where it gave Superman a CGI lip. And Ben Affleck was a little on the, heavy side of his shape. Looks like he had too many pies. In the Whedon cut. Looking a little like late 90s Steven Seagal from the Silver Era, you know? A little chubby, like he needs to cut back on some carbs and calories. May go into a calorie deficit. That's just why I think how bad Ben Affleck looked in the Whedon cut. Anyway, I think this is a more pointless movie than Joss Whedon's Justice League. And a bigger fiasco done by Joss Whedon. This is the biggest fiasco of his career, I think, that he's directed with his name on it. That we know that he directed. That he took credit for. directing. And this, I give 2 points out of 10. This movie. One of was funny on the commentary to this movie. Joss Whedon said he forgot forgot what happened in the first Avengers movie, and he didn't want to watch it with his kids. Rewatch the first Avengers movie, take notes, and learn from his mistakes, because he just doesn't think you need to do that. He thinks it's smarter to think of every movie as just go in without revisiting the first one and just learn what you can improve on with a different story with the characters. So we didn't want to not do that. He took the lazy man around. He did not rewatch his film that he forgot about, that he directed from 2020. The first Avengers movie, he forgot what happens in that movie because it's been so long since in the movie. So he just wouldn't want to rewatch the movie before working on the sequel, because he didn't think that, there's no reason to do that, to learn from your mistakes and improve on what you can do better in the sequel. This decides to make it double time on the weaknesses that the first one had. But its strengths is the stupidity. Writing is even worse than the first one. With worse at pacing issues. At least it's properly lit like a movie this time, right? But what's the trade-off? Everything else is worse. And the movie has this weird orange coating in every shot. This weird orange coating with the color grading in every shot with the Avengers. The film's has this orange coating tint to it in every shot. And you really can tell it in the flashback scenes with Captain America and Black Widow, and the scenes when Hulk's going on a rampage after being brainwashed by Scarlet Witch. It really does stick out in those shots. The fact that they use the same color coding in every fucking shot. And it kind of sticks out in the snow opening scene where they're in the snow and find the Hydra army. I mean, why does the movie have this? Why does every shot have this orange tint to it, which the color grading goes for, as a style? But it looks awful. It makes the CGI look like a shitty cartoon, more than the shitty, overhated, I think, in my opinion, Avengers cartoon. Not Earth Mightiest Heroes, the second cartoon that lasted for more seasons. I think that's a little overhated, because I think I like this. I think this is definitely a step down from the shitty Avengers cartoon animation style and story structure. With the story, it feels like it's like just nothing feels epic or stakes are high. It just feels everything's for show. It feels like everything's like a joke, to the point you don't really care anymore or can even bother investing in these characters, because it feels like there's no stakes like there was in the first one. They're like the Avengers just suck as characters and heroes, and they dismantle pretty easily. Like Captain America says, like cotton candy. No longer trust each other, being brainwashed by Scarlet Witch and warp magic. And so now we're gonna have to listen to Captain America and all the other Avengers bitching about how much they hate each other again. So back to square one that the first Avengers set up with. The Avengers hating each other, then liking each other, after hating each other and distrusting each other, then going for character growth, now liking and trusting each other. Now we're back from square one again. That was the first, where the Avengers were first in the beginning of the first Avengers movie. Isn't that not character growth? What, you think that's stupid? Well, my God, Sherlock Holmes, you're right. You're a young Sherlock Holmes yourself, like me. Thinking the same characters, this is his pointless writing that's stupid and retarded. beyond your imagination and beyond your description of belief. Suspension of disbelief. This is a shitty movie. I give it 2 points out of 10 points. Goodbye. Subscribe. Like this video. Goodbye.